Ta-da! Done. Howdy neighbor, how is your garden growing? Me and my garden? Well, there should be a very different thing that's happening right now. So if you're looking for some motivation to get your garden started, if you're looking for some inspiration on what things you could do at this point, if you just want to hang out because you're not into gardening right now because there's been a whole mess happening, this is a video for you. So join me today as we go and start getting this garden restarted in the month of November. So first off, warm weather crops, like tomatoes and peppers, we're way past time. Even though I'm zone 10, I can kind of push it because I'm like South Florida, but I'm not South Florida. We're really kind of past time. But I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and get warm weather crops started because whether you're Central Florida, zone 10, for sure, you can do warm weather crops in the month of January. The big thing you kind of are watching out this time of year, my North Florida, my Central Floridians, is like there's gonna be a freeze / cold snap that warm weather crops aren't gonna like. So if they're not established, but my thinking is if I get these started now, I got a cold snap that's supposed to be happening in 1 week, but it's not that cold. It's not like, we're not going in the 30s. We're gonna go in like the upper 50s for like, you know, this long. And then we'll be back in the 60s. So tomatoes can handle it, and especially if they're in trays. We got, you know, stone floors, covered patio. It's not gonna get into the 50s on the patio. So I think we can get some stuff going. I think I'm gonna push it and do some trays. I'm gonna restart my tomatoes because I pretty much lost everything. I'm gonna restart my peppers. I'm gonna actually do some amount of broccolis, though we're gonna start some broccolis in bed too. I figured have some backups because, you know, we're at a time of year. We're also gonna restart beans, which my beans were looking really good. I just kept not having cleaned up my garden earlier this year, so you too. Yeah. I got more strawberry starts. I'm just restarting all of that. They were looking so good. And then I think it was like during Helene, I missed watering some of them during the evacuations. And then I think they were definitely dead by the time we hit Milton. It was just like, I was like, oh man, I totally missed out. So I'm gonna do those in trays. I got those, they arrived. Kale, and then we might even, oh, I've got some green onion scraps from cleaning up the beds from actually green onions I planted at the very beginning of this year. So we're gonna get those into trays. In the bed, we're gonna focus on, well, we gotta break up all the clumps. We gotta do that. But we're also gonna get our lettuce started. We're gonna get broccoli started, beets started, onions started, and kale started there. And today's a good day for me to get seeds in the ground because you know what happens tomorrow morning? What, Jacqueline? My sprinklers run. This is one of the things I like to do with timing stuff out. Like, yes, I say you need water regularly, but it's always good to just do something before your sprinklers run. So today is the day to get this going. So the first thing we're gonna do is I lost Ben. Ben is cleaning up some of the trays that were no bueno from before. They were just still filled with like muck and dirt. So he just gave all the trays a little rinse off. And I'll show you what kind of stuff I'm using as we kind of go along. So here we go. Okay, so here's some of the stuff that we're gonna be using. One, you can see all my old strawberries. We'll just dump those in the compost and it'll be great. But we have the trays we're gonna be using. These I got from Epic Gardener. Link maybe is on the screen, or I'll have like a little shopping area if you want to buy the same stuff. So we'll be using these. These we're gonna use for tomatoes, beans, peppers. I forget what the other ones are. I have a list. You'll see as we kind of go along. We'll be using these ones. For the strawberries, we'll use these bigger ones, the 4 cells. So these are actually deeper, wider. So we'll use these for strawberries. I think I have a couple other things. I listed out. So, but the same Epic Gardening kind of stuff. It's just bigger. For seed starting mix, this worked amazing. All my seeds started up so quickly. So we're gonna keep going with this. I have no issues continuing to use this. So we'll get this for our seed starting mix. For mixing everything into, we're gonna just use one of my little handy dandy buckets. I picked this up at Target, usually in their little $5 section. And then for mixing and filling, we'll be just using a handy dandy shovel. And what else am I gonna be using along the way? We'll see, and I'll show you as we go. First up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on getting the seed starting mix all mixed up with some water because it's all dehydrated and we cannot be starting with dehydrated soil. First up, we're just gonna take our bag of seed starting mix and we're gonna just put it, this is just a bucket, you can use any bucket, and we're gonna just put this in here. We're gonna put a lot in here because I've got a lot of little trays to start. And as I'm doing this, Ben's gonna be following along because we've got so many to do. And don't worry about putting too much water in because you can always add soil as you go along. And you can notice this stuff is super dry, but we're just gonna mix, 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 like it's a brownie mix, until it becomes like basically what looks like mud. And you're gonna be like shocked about how much water, like it'll feel like you're putting in so much water in the beginning, and yet I'll tell you, having done this enough times, like I'm always like, that's probably too much water, and then I mix for a really extended time, and then I'm like, oh wow, it's still like bone dry. So it can feel like I didn't put enough in, and then all of a sudden, but then like it always tips really fast. Tips is not a big word, but it goes from like being really dry to really wet super fast. But it's okay if it's a little bit on the wetter side. Oh yeah, I put way too much in here, but that's perfect because I'm gonna use more of this. But this is what I'm saying, like if you sit here and you're like, oh wow, it's too wet, no big deal. We're just gonna keep adding in and it's gonna be perfect. How many people, so curious, how many of you are a lot fitter, more toned up since the hurricanes, just from all the literal work you've been doing? I know our neighbor said he lost like 10 pounds from just moving branches. Yeah. And I know some other people said that they were moving a bunch of like logs from their neighbor's yards, and they also were losing pounds. I don't know if I've lost pounds as much as just like everything feels a little like
I'm more tired, I know that.
Okay, so if you're wondering what it should look like, this is what it should look like. It's not muddy, it's just like nice and clumpy. And if you want like a video where I give you lots of close-up shots, I'll put the seed starting video at the end so that you can use that as a reference. So my short list, I had this all in my planner, but because I checked everything off in my planner, which if you want to get your planner, you know, link up above, feel free. I just wrote it out digitally. I was trying to figure out how many do I need of each thing. Okay, so I've got 5 trays of tomato seeds. So 1, 2, oh, I'm sorry, you guys can't even see. Can you see this now? All right, here we go. So 1, 2, and I've got 6, but I need 1 tray of pepper seeds. So those will be all this type. So what we're first try. So I'm gonna get, oh, I didn't even get my popsicle sticks ready. That was a bad idea. So one of the tricks that I have learned over time is write what they are sooner than you think you need to. So what I did last time, which I found really easy, is I would put tomato on one side and then the variety on the other. These will break down in your garden. These are not meant for like lasting the life of your tomato. They are just meant so that a month from now you're like, what is this plant? You know what plant it is. I know what plant it is. He knows what plant it is.
Mm-hmm. I already know this, but just for the viewers, how loose or tight should I make the soil?
Okay, so here's the thing. That's a great question. So if you're gonna smash it like it's gonna become a diamond, the roots will never get through and the plant will die. So you're just gently packing it in. The big thing you don't want to happen is the first time we water it, everything collapses down, and then again, the roots get all disturbed, and then the plant is very sad. So it's just like a put it in and gently pat it down kind of jam. Okay. But since you don't have as much soil, maybe you focus on getting my little trays going. And I just for short put tomatoes as Tom. You too, me too. And then we're gonna put PC, not for politically correct, but for purple Cherokee. Okay? So you can.
But what if it is also politically?
It's the politically. But you can create shorthands as long as you know what it is. So you can note it in your planner or somewhere else. You want, if you're gonna shorthand it, note it somewhere that is not in the garden that's gonna fall apart. Let me put it that way. So I just know the PC's purple Cherokee. And then we're gonna have 4th of July's. 4th of July's were the first seedlings, did great. Do I even need to write 4th of July? I'll just write 4th because I know 4th of July. What else? Oh, and then I need the VFN. and the Homestead 24. I'm gonna put H24. This isn't a beauty pageant for popsicle sticks. This is literally get it done. We're just getting back on track. Pepper, we're gonna short it as PEP, not Pepto-Bismol. So we got Charleston Belle and Carolina Wonder. I'm gonna just write Belle because I know it's not California beans, and we're gonna do, these are the, I don't know how to say, tea black, turtle black. And then we're gonna do, so what I am doing is, did I say this to you guys? I can't even remember. We are starting broccoli in tray and out in the beds. Why? Because I want broccoli, and we have time, but we don't have a ton of time to get this like good. So we're gonna get the Waltham 29s going. I need one. Oh no! I tried to jazz this up.
Blooper reel.
And chaos. The 2 Waltham 29s. Now you might think, hey, why are you making repeats of some of the same stuff? Why not, a grouping is something. From experience, when you water, you're rearranging for sun needs. All of a sudden you're like, wait, was that supposed to be? Was that something else? Have you been there? Because I've been there. So every tray gets a label, one way or another. Now, if you don't have popsicle sticks, masking tape, painter's tape works really well as a temporary, not a full time. And I like to put the popsicle sticks in before I put the seed in. So that way we're all, me and the tray are on the same page of what's inside. Because I've had it where I put the seeds, like look, if you're sitting here like, wow, you get like hundreds and hundreds of pounds, how did you do it making so many mistakes? You can still get hundreds and hundreds of pounds making tons of mistakes. You could be better if you don't make all these mistakes. We're gonna do strawberry. I will tell you, I was very, even this round, I was like, oh yeah, no, definitely, when I started in the fall. I'm like, I'll remember which ones are the Albion strawberries versus the Everbearing Eversweet. Surprise, didn't remember. So we're not making that mistake twice. Now, when the ones in the beds, I'm not gonna worry about labeling. This is one thing, it's like having the planner or having somewhere where you document it, like I said, that's outside of the garden. I know which bed, I know I'll put Butter Crunch in bed that's southeast, northwest bed. So I label it very detailed on there. And then I don't have the problem of worrying about, which one? Everbearing Eversweet, that's gonna be. So those ones I don't worry about labeling because I know where I place things, and I don't mix varieties in the same bed, so it makes it a lot easier. But this stuff, it's gonna happen. So we're gonna focus on, have you moved into my soil yet? No, you haven't. Okay, cool.
Nope.
So Ben's over here. Let me take you in so you can see it.
Come on over.
So Ben's filling these up. You want to fill them up so that they're pretty close to the top, especially these tiny ones. And then what's going to happen is when we water from the first time, when you don't want to push so hard because these have big holes in the bottom. Other brands don't, but this is because the plastic's really hard that if you try to pop this out, or you wouldn't be able to pop it out unless it had a hole to pop it out with. So that's what happens. So we got these 5 going. So I'm gonna start putting the popsicle sticks in of what's supposed to be going in each one. So I'm gonna do all the broccolis and these black ones. Also just then using the color as a cue for what's going where. Did we also say we were doing the black beans in the little one? Yes. Now these ones you could start in ground. It's just my soil in the area that I'm gonna put these is so dry, and it's drying out super fast lately, that I'm just gonna preemptively get them going. Also with the cold snap, these wanna be warmer. So I just figure I'll start them in the tray, up pot them, transplant them, and then we'll move into the others. Okay, so these are gonna go into the bigger ones. And Ben does it so nicely. He's using his nice shovel and doing this jazz. Let me show you. He's coming over here and he's gently pushing it. I'm one who uses my hand, but because we're gonna grab the seed packet shortly, I'm gonna tell you, if you don't have something to rinse your hands off with, problems. Because you're gonna contaminate your seeds. and you can say how the seeds and get contaminated by soil. They're gonna get contaminated and that they're gonna be like, oh, I'm in the ground, it's time to go. Moisture, hooray. But the only problem is look, if I do this, boom, I just use my hand. And look how deep these went. So, something to watch out for. You guys see this? Let's go a little closer here. Which is why I tend to use my hands.
I think I probably need to mix some more.
Yes, we're gonna 1000% need to mix more.
1000%.
So what I would recommend is you just go ahead and use your hand. And just do that. And boom, now all of a sudden it's done. Let me just double check this one. And this is like a great thing if you've got littles, kids, grandkids, neighbors' kids. They love doing stuff like this. Mine are out with Nana Papa right now, so they are not gonna get to do this right now. You can see how fast it's going with me just kind of shoving it in, pushing it down gently with my thumb. I'm not, like I said, trying to create diamonds here with the pressure of the center of the earth. I'm just gently pushing down, just trying to make sure it's just generally full, there's no holes. And my last little tray. And if you're wondering how did you get the tray so perfect, it's just because I listed it out in my planner originally. But I checked all this off back in August and September when I did it. So I just quickly typed it up on, that's why you see the little tablet here, as I made a quick list based on what I wrote in the planner. All right, here we go. So now the small trays are all done. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and label these. So I've got my Cherokee purples. Are gonna go here. I'm gonna keep them clumped together. You might ask why so many. This one produced a lot and it was like a bigger one, but it's a bigger one that even though we're starting later, it's gonna be okay because it did really well through the spring months. So if my original game plan was, we're only doing a little bit of these because these are going into the circle in the middle eventually. These are gonna go on one trellis because these are testing 2 new varieties, and then these are all varieties I know work. So next up, we're gonna start getting our seeds going. So I just got like a handy dandy plastic bin. I'm all about the plastic bins. So what I did earlier this year is I did segment out all the varieties that I'm using in just one of these little plastic bins. And then there's all the other seeds I own. Might be like, oh, so you store these outside normally? No, we do not store these outside normally. It's too humid in Florida. You would not want to do that. It might look crazy, but like, look, this saves you a lot of money. So, oh, they smell awful. Oh, they're past due for being put on the ground, but whatever, we're gonna get it done today. So those are just green onion scraps. You buy green onions from Publix, Walmart. I don't know if Target carries green onions, but whatever, one of those places. Yeah. So he would know where we buy the things. I will tell you, we bought those late December. Ate the green onion part. I took the roots. I shoved them in the bed.
It's not December yet. You mean October?
No, we bought these ones in December of last year. And then I planted them in the beds up front in January of this year. And then they grew there, harvested. Ooh, these stink so bad. I need to move them further away. And then I harvested them out when I harvested sweet potatoes earlier this year. And now those are the roots. We lost a lot of the green onion harvest because hurricane had no power and they were in the freezer, all the green onions that were pre-cut. So, fun facts. Okay, so let's start with the easiest thing to plant. If you've never planted a seed before, I always would start with beans. Beans are super easy, they're more forgiving. Yes, let's start with them. So, where is my beans? We got the beans right here. So what we're gonna do is we take our little packet. So these are black turtle drying beans. We eat a lot of black beans in our family. So beans. They're warm weather crops, so we wouldn't typically start them in November unless you live down in South Florida. These ones, they're gonna tell you to put them an inch deep. What's an inch? It's about right here on your thumb. And we need only 6 of these. They're gonna grow pretty well. And I don't even need technically the whole 6. So typically when you're doing stuff, you usually put like 2 seeds in. But these tend to come up pretty fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's get 1, let's get 2. There we go, we got 6 beans. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here. Whoop. I knocked into you. We're gonna put that back over here so y'all can see. Beans. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our little finger and go hole. Now what I tend to do is I put the holes all first. Why? So that I can tell that I did the thing. Because what I found, again, I make lots of mistakes, so you don't have to, is if I did it one at a time and I covered them up, then sometimes I forget, which one did I do? So I do like one step at a time, make all the holes at once, and then put all the beans in at once, and then cover them up all at once, and now I know. Now you might say, do I water that now? No, because all the soil's wet. You don't need to water it. And because we got this watering tray below, we'll use that. Now we're gonna just move stuff around. Waltham 29, you can pick these up from Southern Exposure, or you can, there's other varieties that work here in Florida, but this is the one that works for me. You can pick it up, you can buy them online. So what we're gonna do, this one says 1/4 inch depth. Ooh, that doesn't seem like a lot. We're gonna put a lot in our hand because what we don't wanna do is go in and out, in and out, in and out of the packet. We're gonna need 6 times 4, 24 at minimum, but we need extras because we're gonna put a couple per cell. And when I say cell, I mean this thing right here. So now because it says 1/4 inch, what I have found over time is that means we're just gonna make like a little dimple, little teeniest, tiniest of hole. Can you even see those? I don't know if you can, but if you can't, just believe that there are little dimples there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come through and we're gonna go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And we're gonna do this again out in the beds in the ground, but right now we're just putting stuff in. Okay, we got that one done. Gently. These ones we don't need to go very deep. We can always add soil on top later once they're sprouted. But this, we're gonna keep it pretty shallow. Boom, that one's done. Now part of the advantage of doing trays is you can control the soil and the light a little bit better, and temperature too. Now Florida, if we had started on time, which we did start on time. What am I talking? Like I didn't start on time. But because we're restarting, we're not in the ideal time of year for my warm weathers, but we are in a really good time of year for my cold weathers. So we're just gonna, so having the control for especially everything that's on this side will be a good idea. On the other side, these ones, that's why I'm willing to start some of these out in the ground. But because we're now at that time of year that's like, it's okay, we can start them. But I got cold snaps coming. I have no rain on the horizon, especially the no rain on the horizon, and it's gonna be a drier year, and soil in the yard is just looking so dry after the hurricanes. We're gonna like try to get as much stuff started in trays so we can have a little bit more control over it. Just a little. You can see I'm just putting like a couple, and we're gonna have to be okay with thinning. Thinning means you're gonna get rid of these babies. But if you wanna eat the sprouts, then maybe it won't feel like it's such a big deal. I mean, it's gonna be like 12 sprouts. Let's be real. So these ones, I think Homestead 24 was recommended by you guys originally. And Tropic BFN, I think, was through research. I was like, hey, let's try this out. It's feeling very light, like there might not be any seeds left, but we're just gonna come down this Homestead 24. This is gonna be 1/4 inch depth. And wow, there are like barely seeds left in here. Oh no. So we're gonna do 2 per cell. That just increases our odds. These have a 90% germination rate, which means if I plant 10 seeds, 9 of them they're committing to 9 of them coming up. Now let's do the Tropic BFN. Make a little hole, bing, bing, boom. Ben's still over here filling up the bigger cells. They take up a lot more space, a lot more soil.
Yeah, they do.
You blowing through the bags?
Oh yeah.
Glad that I had extras.
Oh yeah.
All right, I dropped some seeds here. All right, so again, 2. Oh, that was a lot more than 2. And then 2. And then 2. And then boom, close it up. Get these guys under the soil. These are the ones back in the day. I used to plant these like 1 inch deep. What a terrible idea. But who's to know when you're a newbie? You just kind of are like, I don't know, is that 1/4 inch? Okay, here's my next type pack. Okay, so Charleston Bell. This was a recommendation from y'all this year, so I'm trying it out for the first time. Many people stated they had success with this versus what you usually find at the store, which is a California Wonder. And the main thing between California, I had some Californians message me and say, hey, I always thought the difference between us and Florida was just the humidity, and the humidity is real, man. So that can be sometimes the problems if you follow variety recommendations from Californians, is it can handle the heat, but it cannot handle the humidity. That is your watch out with California stuff, recommendations. In California, like if they're in the San Diego area, they're close in sun intensity. They're a little bit lighter. But if they're like further north, which I know a few channels are, if they're like San Francisco area, then your sun intensity is a lot less. And timing. If you look at the timing for even zone 9s, for when they plant stuff in other parts of the country, they're not on the same timetable as us. And we're gonna get some peppers. I really want to try these. If I have to start these guys a third time for this vegetable season, I will. I really want to try these. And I know I am taking a risk by doing this before we have a cold front come through. Move this out. Oh, this is the one that's not from Southern Exposure. I will tell you guys that. There's one brand of everything else. I'm pretty much like a Southern Exposure, but when it comes to 4th of July hybrid, Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, wherever you find this type, this is the one. It's produced so many, like 50 pounds of tomatoes this year, easy. I mean, it was ridiculous how many pounds we had. Made tomato sauces and lots of different types of salsas. So much fresh bruschetta, caprese, just so much. Gave pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds of tomatoes away. So a lot doesn't come in a packet, but they are worth it when you find them. Keep your eyes out. And Northerners seem to have good luck with this one too. So it's like kind of one of those ones that, hey, if you're not from here and you're watching, hi. Because I know at this time of year is the time of year I start to get more Canadians watching, because they're like all their other garden channels that they watch, everyone's going dormant. They're going quiet. And us down in Florida, we're like, we got so much to do. So 4th of July hybrid, been planting this one for years. It's getting better and better for me. Totally recommend it for y'all. Or is it Cherokee Purple? You know, someone was asking me that the other day. They're like, is that a different variety? Because I keep hearing...
Tomato.
Well, they were asking me if they, when they look...
they're tomatoes.
Ha 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 ha. But like, someone was asking me because I kept saying purple Cherokee, and I was just like, I don't know. It's just how I call things. So sometimes I say things backwards. Okay, so we're gonna want to put like 2. I think I'm almost done with this packet. This packet's almost dead. It's dead. So we're gonna do 2. And again, all tomatoes are about 1/4 of an inch, which is basically just, these came up really well before the hurricanes. They were looking good before the hurricanes. It's gonna be like the caveat of the year. Before the hurricanes, everything was fine. This is why I order extra packets, not just because of hurricanes, but stuff happens in life, and then all of a sudden you're backtracking, and we have time, you know? We're not like at the end of our season here. And I just did what I said don't do, which is fill up the holes. I really want to see how much purple Cherokee I can grow this year. I definitely recommend it. I do have a free list that you guys can download of my favorite varieties of growing things that have worked for me and other Floridians. You can download it. There'll probably be like a link right here for you. And then you can have that as your seed shopping. If you're like, hey, I need to write all these names down. Everything I'm growing, I think, is on the list. Maybe not the Charleston Bells and the VFNs, because those are things I'm testing, and I don't want to put something on a list if I don't know if it's gonna work. You know? Makes sense. All right, we're on a magical mystery journey, and boom, we have done all the little seeds. So now we're moving up to the big trays. Ta-da! Done. So this tray's done. We're gonna move this out of the way. Okay, so one of the things that we're gonna wanna do with these is we're gonna cut these roots a little bit shorter, because with the depth that we need to put them into these trays over here, they're just a little too long and they can be snipped and clipped. So here we go. We're gonna just take them, and we're only gonna use 8 of these. So we'll pick whichever the 8 best looking are. Like this is like that's fine, but so right now I'm just gonna come through and I'm gonna clip them all right here. so that we don't have such long roots that we're trying to keep alive and get going. We're just gonna get these going. And I'll tell you with the Albion, I tried this once before and it worked well. Put these, so there was only supposed to be 10 of these. Oftentimes they send more, which is lovely. Who doesn't love getting extras? Just gonna give it a nice haircut. So I left about 1 inch, 2 inches of roots, and then we're gonna pick our favorites and our best to go into this tray. So here is our first tray of Albion. So with these kind of plants, with your strawberry, you're just planting the crown. So right here is where the plant's gonna be. Man, these are like mush. Hopefully they can bounce back. Let me see. Go in here, and what we wanna do is we wanna plant so that this part is right at the top of the soil. So we're gonna go like that. Now usually they say soak them first. And you can, but the soil's already moist, so we're just gonna get these all in. And we're picking our 10 favorite looking ones. How did I pick them? It's just literally, I was like, hey, those look cute. The other ones I'm just gonna leave out. That one's too thick, I don't like that. I'm gonna put you in. And this is just to get going. We wanna move these into the ground pretty quickly. But right now we just need to get them restarted. I'll have a little bit more control again of the water so we can get these in a good spot first. I want to get these in a good place, like starting to have water, nutrition, pushing out some new roots before I put them outside. Because like I said, post-hurricane, the ground is just super dry overall, and I'm just not feeling like, especially in the back garden, like stuff is gonna thrive really well, because we went through all that wind blowing through here because it was Cat 3 as it hit where I live, and we were on the northern part of the eye wall because I live in St. Pete. And so I just feel like everything kind of got a lot of just got really dry. Everything got really dry, I noticed very quickly after the hurricane. Okay, there we go. We do have some extra plants. That is, okay. Oh wow, that just got all my pants. Those can all go in the compost bin. All right, next up, we're gonna do our I'm gonna leave these actually because these are dry. We're gonna go like this. So let's go grab my Everbearing Eversweets. Did they clip there? See, they clipped theirs pre. I noticed when I ordered them from before, they already had them pre-clipped, and these look way healthier, which makes me feel good about these going in. So we're gonna shove them in. Last time when I did this, before the hurricanes, I actually backfilled around the roots instead of creating a hole. But you know, we're making up for lost time with these ones. Now this one, unlike the seeds, we can see. Hi, look at you. I know I planted you, or I don't. So I can go one by one. And we're just getting them in as quickly as possible. Now these ones came like a week after the Albions, which I'm a little worried about the Albions not having been in the bags a little bit too long. The other challenge I had, which is partially why I lost a lot of plants, is I didn't have enough of these watering trays, which are great. Definitely worth, if you're gonna get little seed starting trays, like get the watering tray with it, because it'll help you keep plants alive, because most of us don't have the ability every day to babysit a plant. So let's just have something that keeps them moist. Now kale is just like broccoli, as in the seeds are basically the same size, because fun fact, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, long time ago were all the same. Brussels sprouts were all the same plant in Italy. And then people just kept like, a long time ago, they started just, trying to find the one that has the biggest flower and the one that has the most leaves. And therefore you got kale and Brussels sprouts. And so they're all actually technically originally the same plant that's been bred for different things. I can't tell if I can't see if I just buried those too deep. So I'm going to just put those in. All right, kale, done. Now we're gonna, these spring onions, they smell so bad. I already know that. So I'm gonna pre-do the holes. I'm not labeling this because they're plants already and I can see them. You might want to label them if you've never grown green onions before and you weren't sure of what you were growing. Ugh, this is disgusting. You can see they kind of got bad on the bottom. But look, they survived the hurricanes. They survived all the neglect through the hurricanes. So we will get them going again. Oh, they're disgusting smelling. Oh no, don't do that. Oh no, what is this rooty mess that is here? Ugh, they're so oh, it's like mush. I might not have as many as I think I do, but you know what? We're gonna make them go in. Come here. What's happening? What happened here? Did you guys like meld together? You disgusting mess. I'm just gonna shove it in. It's fine. It's fine. It'll rehab. I promise it will. It's insane how resilient this plant is. It will look disgusting like this. I've done this before. I've neglected them, especially when I was working in the factory, and then come back and been like, oh right, I have these. These are just all roots. This is mush. Looks like we got just one. We have one extra, but that's fine. All this can go into the compost now. Okay, so seed starting, tray starting, done. So now what we do is we're just gonna take this and the little tray here, we fill it up. So these things can all stay watered. And they will start drinking water bottom up. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.